Hey guys, this is Ben, and in this video I'm going to show you exactly why the GoPro Fusion is the best consumer 360 camera for both photo and video as of early 2018. Link to the GoPro Fusion can be found down in the description, as well as all the must-have GoPro Fusion accessories. I'm also going to upload some samples for you guys to download if you like, to make sure you are happy with this camera before you press that buy button. Here's the design of the camera, and it looks just like a normal GoPro. However, they've extended it down so it becomes a square. The camera is made of rubber, so if it hits a hard surface, it's not going to break. However, it's probably likely that your lens is going to hit the surface if you do drop it and smash. So while the rubber is good, it doesn't protect those lenses, and the lenses are the most important part you need to protect. Here we have the battery compartment and two micro SD slots. That's right, this camera takes two micro SDs instead of one, meaning your footage is going to be a lot safer because it puts less stress on the camera having two places to write the data to. The camera has two buttons only, one here which is on and changing modes, and this one is your record button, as well as confirm selection. While the camera is kind of heavy, I'd say you could put this in your pocket, which is rare for a prosumer 360 camera. Normally they're bigger, bulkier, and heavier, so that's a win for the Fusion's design. One thing I really don't like is the GoPro mount. It means you have to get a separate adapter to put it on a tripod. I'll link this one down in the description. It cost me about $3 on Amazon. Here's the selfie stick the Fusion came with, and I really don't like this at all. Look how big that thing is. It's going to leave a massive footprint in your 360 photos and videos, and to be perfectly honest, I've not used this even once. They had good intentions because this does double as a selfie stick, but it's just too big and clunky. Do yourself a favor, get the GoPro adapter, and then pair it with another normal tripod like this Manfrotto Mini Pixie tabletop tripod. Even better, here's the tiny little Manfrotto tripod I showed you guys in my last video, and this is a perfect match for the Fusion because it's the exact width of it. This selfie stick also goes great with the Fusion. Overall, I'd say the Fusion is well designed. However, because of the tripod thread and the exposed lenses, I'm not going to put the design as a pro or a con. Here's the photo resolution of the Fusion, and here's the video resolution. Although those are very good numbers, what amazed me when I first saw this camera was just how sharp it looks. It looks even sharper than these might indicate. By far, the Fusion has produced the sharpest looking images and videos from any consumer 360 camera I've seen. When watching back that beautiful 5.2K video, that sharpness looks absolutely incredible. And it's 5.2K resolution. There have been other 5K cameras come out prior to the Fusion that haven't looked that sharp. Why is that? Well, there are some 360 cameras that, despite resolution, have really good optics, as well as all of the best internal components that make a certain resolution look sharper than it actually is. There's so much more to cameras than just resolution, and something I've noticed about the GoPro as well as the Theta cameras is that despite the resolution on the box, they actually do look sharper, and overall the look is much better than that number might suggest. And it's going to silence those naysayers who still haven't bought into 360 video because of its softness. This legitimately looks like HD video, and the photos also look incredibly sharp. I'm not going to say like DSLR, but it's getting close. Accompanying this amazing sharpness is also excellent dynamic range, perhaps the best I've ever seen from a 360 camera. The Fusion is a camera you can rely on to not only get a really good exposure, but also get beautiful crystal clear colors. If you saw my side-by-side comparison of the Fusion and its 6 closest competitors, you'll see that the Fusion's videos and photos were the most lifelike and realistic to the situations I was in. It came first in almost every situation, and to me, that says this is a camera you can rely on in almost any situation. Whether you're on the move, whether you're on a tripod, whether you're in bright light, low light, mixed light, the Fusion just knows how to handle it. It won't be perfect every time, but it will be 95% of the time. Something that contributes to these excellent looking photos and videos is manual exposure. Manual exposure is key for anyone that wants a really specific look or strong control over their photos, over their videos, if you're working with difficult lighting situations. Take this photo for example. I went into the manual mode, I changed my shutter speed to 10 seconds, and I waved a flashlight around the camera, resulting in an awesome little piece for Instagram. Manual exposure is key for effects like this, so if you're someone that likes playing with every last little variable of your camera, then the Fusion will have your back. The Fusion also shoots RAW, and wait, don't get too excited because the workflow isn't quite in place just yet. It does allow you to adjust your RAW files inside of Adobe Camera Raw or Lightroom. However, you're not able to stitch the two circular spheres unless you have a third-party software like Mystica or Color, which for me rules RAW out for now. They're probably going to fix this in the future, but I wouldn't consider this a feature of the Fusion, given you can't do it natively within Fusion Studio. You can export TIFF files instead of JPEG, which is kind of like RAW, but it's not quite RAW. At the same time though, I've noticed Fusion files are actually really easy to color correct, and you get a decent amount of latitude anyway. If you do make any big boo-boos with your photos, you can correct them pretty easily. This brings me to the first flaw of the Fusion, and it's a big one. You can't save your 360 photos and videos to your camera roll. You can only edit them within the GoPro app. As someone who shoots 360 mainly with the intention of editing into a Tiny Planet and uploading to Instagram, this is super annoying. I don't like this at all. You can edit Tiny Planets within the GoPro app, however, it's extremely limiting. I like having the full equirectangular 360 photo that I can then manipulate in another app, like Roll World or Theta Plus. So this limitation rules out those apps, and it means you have to go to your computer if you want those 360 equirectangular photo and video files. Another flaw is there's no self-timer for photos. So if you want to take a photo, you'll either have to do this or connect to your smartphone app and use your phone as a remote shutter. On a side note, this is one of many reasons why the Fusion beats the Rilo, because although they both don't have self-timers, at least you can connect wirelessly to your phone with the Fusion and use your phone as a timer. With the Rilo you can't, you need it plugged in via a cable. So while this lack of self-timer sucks, at least there's some kind of solution, and hopefully they will fix it in a future firmware update. One thing I love about the Fusion is burst mode. It allows you to take 30 photos within 1 single second, which means it's the perfect camera to shoot a jumping shot with. So let's give it a go. How good does that look? Straight away, first shot, I got an amazing jumping shot. Normally it takes me 20 goes. I got that the first time only because I took 30 photos over the course of the jump, and therefore I can choose the one right in the middle where I'm at the very highest point and turn that into a tiny planet that's going to look nice on Instagram. Another big strength of the Fusion is its stabilization. You can shake this thing around like you've forgotten to take your meds, and it will be silky smooth when you watch it back. This is industry-leading stabilization and second only to the Rilo. So if you're someone that's into sports and moving your camera around, then the Fusion is going to be an excellent option for you. The Fusion is also excellent for time lapses, whether you want to do a photo time lapse and end up with thousands of individual photos, or if you want to do a video time lapse where it combines all of them together into one shorter video file. So does the GoPro Fusion swim? Well, yeah, we know it does swim. It's waterproof up to about 15 feet, but I haven't seen anyone actually take it into the water. From what I did to my Xiaomi Mi Sphere, I'm a little bit scared right now. But that's what it says on the box. It's waterproof, so let's take a look. Success! No watery death for the Fusion, woohoo! The Fusion doesn't even care that I've tried to drown it, it's still rolling and still working a-okay. And while waterproofness will now go into the pro list immediately, it does bring up a few issues around visibility. When the water hits the lenses directly, this causes refraction, which makes the stitching significantly worse. As you can see here, the seam line has a lot more cutoff than usual, and the only way to avoid this is to get an underwater housing, which seems totally counterintuitive to buying a waterproof camera, but if you want the stitching right, you're going to need it. I also noticed when swimming with the camera naked, and yes, I mean the camera naked, not me, that the lenses fog up instantly when removing it from the water. So if you're planning a shot that starts in the water and ends out of the water, depending on the climate you're in, the lenses are probably going to fog up. So really I think of the waterproofness as an excuse to take more of a risk with my camera and get cool shots like this one, shots that I wouldn't be game enough to try with my new Mi Sphere. Or would I? The Fusion also records spatial audio, which means 360 audio. So if you're someone that cares about spatial audio, which is not me, then this is going to be an awesome feature for you. Another area that the Fusion excels is in low light. Up to this point, there hasn't really been a 360 video camera that can do well in low light. The Fusion is not only sharp in low light, but the images are also relatively clear of grain, and it handles strong light sources really well and doesn't overblow the image or create strong distracting lens flares. The Fusion stitching is really good. As you can see, the lenses are offset, and this works to its advantage. I'm still yet to be disappointed by the stitching of the Fusion. It hasn't let me down for photo or video. While I wouldn't say it does as good of a job as first advertised when they released those samples of the dogs running past the camera a few months ago, I found overall I've been able to get a stitch that I've been happy with. And for anyone buying the Fusion, I'd strongly suggest keeping PROTUNE on because this is going to help stitching immensely. One good thing about the app is that it connects to the camera lightning fast. You don't even need to join the network manually, it will automatically search for it and join it. Now we can access all the settings of the camera, we can change modes. I found the mobile workflow to be really restricting. While you can download and view your photos and videos like this, that's about all you can do. You can't actually download the equirectangular files like I mentioned earlier. You can reframe them and edit them like this. However, it's really hard to edit. It uses the gyroscope of the phone. I find it awkward and clunky. If you want to share your 360, you can share to Facebook only right now, but I find this extremely limiting. I'd want to upload a few photos at once, not just one. And really, I prefer bringing this to my camera roll and editing the photo before I go ahead and upload to social media. These are a few reasons why the mobile workflow needs improvement still. Using overcapture in the GoPro app is very similar to the Insta360 app. You'll press record, and then you can move the frame around as you please. I have a big issue with this because my hands are not steady and the shake of the gyroscope means your final video is going to be shaky and unpleasant. I want to be able to create keyframes where it'll automatically move from one point to another. The best way to import your photos and videos to Fusion Studio is by directly connecting the camera to your computer. You won't be able to put your card in a card reader because Fusion Studio won't recognize it, which is annoying, but not that annoying. This is Fusion Studio, and you've probably heard lots of complaints about this software. Firstly, it'll keep you waiting for a crazy long time while it imports your footage, and in fact, I got a brand new iMac because I knew I was going to use the Fusion a lot and I couldn't take the slowness of my old iMac. So I got this brand new iMac that has 64 gigabytes of RAM, an 8 gig graphics card, really fast processor, and it's handling Fusion Studio a lot better. I would say if you have a slow computer, anything older than about 4 or 5 years, you're going to struggle with Fusion Studio. And you know what? This isn't even GoPro's fault. This is the fault of the fact that you're working with 5K footage and it needs a fast computer to deal with it. It doesn't matter which camera you own. The higher up you go in res, the faster a phone you will need and the faster of a computer you will need. Still importing my footage. So I'd say if you have a slower computer, and think about it, can your computer successfully edit 4K footage? I'm just talking normal 4K footage at a decent speed. Does it take days, or can you do it within 24 hours or so? If it can and it doesn't take days, then there's a decent chance you'll be able to edit GoPro Fusion footage. However, it will take a long time. This is without question the #1 frustration of the GoPro Fusion. It takes a long time to get that footage from your camera onto your computer as an equirectangular video file. So if you're someone that doesn't have a lot of patience, then there's a good chance that your Fusion will be flying through the closest window. Oh my god, it's finished! Woo! Yeah! Okay, we are in business, and on the left we have all of our photos and videos. On the right is our viewer where we can edit them. One cool thing I actually really like about this software is you can just use your mouse and you can totally change the orientation of your photo or video. You know, this software gets a really bad rap for its slowness and its crashing, but it does have a few really good things about it. Another cool thing is you can edit your tiny planets here within the app. And while you can also use overcapture in Fusion Studio, and it's pretty easy, you can't add keyframes. You're just stuck with one point of view. So the better option is going into Premiere and using some of GoPro's inbuilt 360 manipulation tools. I'll make a video very soon about how to do that, but for now, let's export our equirectangular 360 video. So we go to 360, and once we're happy with the orientation of this video, you simply hit add to render queue down there. With video, you can choose your codec, H.264, Cineform, and ProRes 422. You can choose your resolution, 5.2K, 4K, 3K, 2K. You can choose your audio, whether it's stereo or spatial audio. This is the point of frustration for most people because Fusion Studio crashes a lot. Back when I was using my old computer, it crashed probably 10 times while trying to export the same clip. So again, you will need a lot of patience when using Fusion Studio, but for now it's still quite buggy, and if you have a slower computer, then it will crash. However, when you finally get to the other side of this export and you have your final 360 video, everything's relatively easy from there. You'll bring it into Premiere and edit as as you normally would a 360 video. One final pro of the Fusion is its compatibility. The Fusion's compatible across iPhone, Android, Mac, and PC. And that's surprisingly rare. Some of its closest competitors like Rilo and the Yi 360 VR are only compatible on either Mac or PC. So there's a good chance that no matter which platform you're on, that the Fusion will work with your setup. So here's the final list. You can see there's way more pros than cons, and the cons aren't even really deal breakers. These are all the reasons why the GoPro Fusion is the best 360 camera for both photo and video as of early 2018. With that said, is it worth $700? Hells yes, but that's only if you have $700. If you don't, you might want to consider the Xiaomi Mi Sphere, which is a lot cheaper and has a lot of the good things that the Fusion has.
So Mr. Ben, should I buy the Fusion or the Xiaomi Mi Sphere?
Overall, I'd say the Fusion is about 1.5 times to 2 times better than the Mi Sphere. Let's say 2 times, let's round up. And it comes in at 3.5 times the price. So if you can afford 3.5 times the price for 2 times as good of a camera, then the Fusion is the option for you. If you don't want to spend that much, if you've only got $200 in your wallet, then you should go the Mi Sphere because it's an awesome camera. Check out my review.
Okay, so what's better, the Fusion or Rilo?
The Rilo is the best 360 camera right now for stabilization, hyperlapses, and reframing. So if those things are important to you, then you should consider the Rilo. The GoPro Fusion outperforms it at everything else. So if your interests lie elsewhere, say in 360 photography, then the Fusion hands down beats the Rilo.
But Mr. Ben, I heard that GoPro are trying to sell their company and they're going down the toilet.
Yeah, I mean, look, times are looking tough for GoPro right now. However, the camera I have in my hand is complete enough. Even if GoPro went completely bankrupt and they never did anything to this camera ever again, I feel like this will still be a camera that delivers me awesome 360 photo and video content. Again, you can find a link to the GoPro Fusion down in the description, as well as those sample photos and videos if you want to take a look for yourself before you buy. In conclusion, this is an amazing all-around 360 camera that has some workflow issues. Would I rather wait a few months for them to sort out these workflow issues? Hell no, I want this camera right now so I can make awesome Instagram and YouTube content. This is an awesome all-around camera and the best $700 I've spent this year. There's a Facebook page for the Fusion you guys should definitely check out because it's filled with awesome samples of the camera, as well as just general discussion and insights from people that are actually using and enjoying this camera. So if you have any questions or you want to interact with fellow users, then that's a great group to join. So I'd be curious to know, are you considering buying the GoPro Fusion? Leave a comment in the box below and let me know. I'd be really keen to see if you guys are as excited about the Fusion as I am. By the way, before someone leaves a comment down there, just letting you know that this Men in Black shirt that I've been wearing is now available on my website. I'll link it down there. Until next time, this has been Ben and the Fusion, and we will see you in the next video.